now. There we go. So for those of you that are familiar with AcqKnowledge, this basically is the launcher. This is where you get to open your existing files, create new templates. With the latest version, we've got these new licensed features for eye tracking and stimulus presentation. You can see there's a new radio button option at the top, and this allows you to come in and create your own stimulus presentation. So I'm just going to create a new one, and we'll walk through how we set everything up. Okay, so the way this dialog is set up, on the left-hand side of the display, you have the details of the individual stimuli that you're going to use for your presentation. In the center, we have a preview of any stimuli that you've selected. So if it's an image, you'll see a picture of the image. And on the right-hand side, we'll see the properties for that particular stimuli. Along the top here, we've got a series of icons. At the moment, there's really only two that are active: to save and to add the stimuli. I'm just going to start right at the top, which is I'm going to pick a file, and if I come into my computer, got a bunch of images already. Where are we? Eye tracking. And okay, so I've got a bunch of images here. I can just take one of these images. Let's take a picture of the horse. And now we've brought in one image that can be presented. So this is the preview. We can maximize this out, make it a little bit easier to see. On the right-hand side, we get the details. And over here, we have the name, and you can change the name. So actually, when I ran the presentation I'm going to show you, when I created it, I did not change the image names, and kind of kicked myself afterwards because it's much easier if you just have a simple name in there saying horse. It's easier to know precisely what's going on, and those names are actually used in AcqKnowledge for the event mark labels. So having good names in there makes a ton of sense. I just brought the original name of the image in. Then you can create categories of images for your categories of images, and you can assign an image to a particular category. That could be positive, negative, neutral, or you can create your own categories. This becomes super helpful if you're doing randomization, because if you want to present a series of negative images, but you want them randomly presented, you can just select random and then the group of images, and the software will pick however many you want out of that grouping. So this is super helpful. The duration is fixed, and then you can adjust the time. So the default is 10 seconds, but you can come here, change this to whatever you want. So now this image will be presented on the screen for 7 seconds. Beneath that, the system will always send an event mark. So that means in AcqKnowledge, and you'll see this when we run the experiment, you'll have an event mark at the point the horse is presented to the participant, and the event type is stimulus delivery. That's the default, but BioPack has a lot of different event types built in, and you can pick a different one if you prefer. Word of advice there, stimulus delivery is used as the event type for some of the automated analysis routines. So it kind of makes sense to stick with that, but if you want to do your own thing, you can do that. And then you can control the background color. because more often than not, your images won't fill the entire screen, and you'll have a region around the side, top and bottom that you want to control. So you can come in and you can say, okay, well, look, by default, I would prefer to have a black background for that image. Or you can pick any color you want out of the palette. So you've got a little bit of control there. And then down below, you've got some controls for scaling fit. So if you remove that, it will revert to the full size of the image. It's not going to scale it to fit on the screen. So in most cases, you're going to want to scale to fit. And the other important one is maintaining the aspect ratio. You know, if you turn this off on some of your images, they get completely distorted. So again, these two controls just allow you to set things up very nicely. Now we can automate some of these options as well. So I just brought in one image, but you can come in and just grab a whole bunch of images like so, and it will bring all of them in together. You can make controls. So if you notice, the default I mentioned earlier is 10 seconds, but we had set this image to 7 seconds. So if I want to adjust all of these and make them all 7 seconds, I just come in, change this to 7 seconds, and now each of these images now reflects that change. Okay, so it kind of makes things a little easier for you. The other thing you can do is, if you know you've got a folder of images that you want to use, you're already organized, you can literally just point to the folder and the system will bring all of those images in for you. Okay, now beyond that, you can add text, so you can display a message on the screen for the participant. Images, which is what we're doing. You can bring in video, PDFs, you can present images side by side, and then random, which is what I already mentioned, and then the system will just randomly present images for you. Okay, so that's bringing in the individual stimuli. Now we can set a sequence. So at the moment, we see on the right the list of images, and this is where I mentioned earlier the names can be really helpful, like obvious names, because I don't know what these names relate to, but we can just come over and bring these images in like so, and from there we can do a dry run. There's an option over here, the little triangle now becomes active. I hit dry run, and the system will just run through exactly how we've got it set up. So this horse is being presented for 7 seconds, and we'll just step through the entire recording. So I'm going to interrupt that for a moment. I use the escape key, it just backs it out. If you want to change the sequence of these, if you look at the bottom of the screen, if you want to move this image up to the top, you can do that. Or if you want to do the opposite, you want to move one down, you can get your sequence exactly the way you want it. Test everything, make sure the timing is correct, and then everything is ready to go. More often than not, you'll have a target before an image is presented, then the image, then a target. The target is designed to focus the individual's attention to a certain point on the screen. So if you put a cross in the center, the participant will then look at that part of the screen for you. So you know their attention is right on the screen. And when you play your image, you know that every participant should be starting from the same point. Okay, so that's sort of creating a particular presentation. You can come over to the save option. You can put in save, and we'll just call this web test. And now we've created and saved a actual presentation. Pretty easy. You'll notice that there's this third tab over here. This is setting everything up to do a recording and do area of interest, etc., etc.